in cohousing. So we've had a really nice introduction to what cohousing is up until now by our other speakers. But I'm going to share with you kind of the more insider, emotional experience of what I learned from community as a child until it still influenced me into my adult life.
And
so
Sonja is doing a master's in UL in the Irish World Academy of Music and Dance. Sorry for the short
I just jumped right in. So basically my parents moved to a cohousing group. We were living in New York and we moved across the country to join a cohousing group when I was 5 years old. We didn't move in until our construction wasn't done until 2003 when I was 7. But I got to have this wonderful extended family. We had 30 families. This is just a photo of some of my closest extended brothers and sisters, kind of. And this is us then, and this is us about 6 years ago. So we're still quite close. And what cohousing did for me was it offered me an amazing group of individuals who could act as mentors for me, and people I could have relationships with or friendships with, adults who I could have friendships with who were not just my parents. So if I needed to ask a question or have advice about something that I wasn't comfortable going to my parents on, or I wanted to have another viewpoint, I could always go to some of the people there. So it also offered us an opportunity to have adults who didn't have their own children to still act as a parent or as a family member to us. So this is Jenna, and she would organize evening reading sessions with all the kids. We were singing a song about lions. That's why we're making the funny face. And yeah, she'd organize that we come together and she'd read to us Harry Potter or some other novel. My brother, this is my brother, my biological brother. The other ones are my adopted brothers. And he was the oldest child out of 24 children in the community. And he became a teenager there, which was great because he had all these amazing role models to look towards. So this was a men's retreat that they organized. I like that it says Irish Beach. I just saw that. And you can see he's got the typical I don't smile, I'm a teenager face on, and Corey's imitating him perfectly. So we also had women's retreats, and we got together in the common house. We had a common house with 30 families. I guess it was possible somehow. We got together and had like clothing swaps for the women. We'd close all the windows and just have the girls in there trying on clothes that they didn't want anymore. Or we had like projects like bead making or pottery. Other adults could teach us what they knew or share their passions with us. Even the ones who had children, whose kids were not interested at all. Like my father taught Aikido, and I had absolutely no interest. But there was a lot of little children there who wanted to learn Aikido, so he would work with them. We had also a very multi-generational community. So this is Naomi. She was our youngest, I guess. Well, she wasn't not for long. She was adopted. And this is Will, who was our eldest member when we moved in, and he also died in the community. And so we got to experience as children how to live with this multi-generational community and how to be respectful towards different ages. And I also got to spend a lot of time with younger children, which I loved. And it's to this day, I still love children, and I love, it was really special. So this is my mother and her best friend Judy, and my second mom, basically. And the people around me were not just in my life and not just extra parents, but they were also really inspiring people. So Judy was hosting transition town meetings in our common house once a month and showing films about ecological problems we're facing in the world right now, educating all of us, not just the children, but the whole community. We had common meals that were cooked, not every night, but just Eris had a project where she cooked common meals with food only from 100 miles radius. So we had this kind of local idea as well. A lot of the residents biked to their work. They were really into biking, or they were running marathons, raising money. So this was also a really amazing example to grow up around, to have adults who I could look toward and say, oh wow, I can also make a difference, I can also do something. So we had amazing facilitation in the community. This is Eris on our very first business meeting in 2003 when we just moved in, dressed as a fairy, facilitating the community meeting. And this is Kalea there, very interestedly watching. And we also had, you can change the slide, we had also amazing mediation and communication within the community. And I think this is one of the things that really allowed us to succeed as a group before we built as well, because we had 3 years or more than 3 years coming together trying to make the plans, and then also when we lived in community. So, go back 1 second. This is David Ergo, and he was one of the main mediators in the community. And when I was 8 years old, me and Ursula, this little girl, my partner in crime, we went to him and we told him, we have a problem with Reen. Reen is not treating us very nicely. We'd like to sit down with her and have a conversation. So we arranged a meeting with Reen through David Ergo, and we sat with her, and at 8 years old, we worked out our conflicts in a very mature way, and we went our ways, and we have had no problem with Reen since. So, yes, another amazing part of growing up in community is that you are supported by everybody there. So when I would look out into the audience at a recital or a theater performance at my school, I wouldn't just see my parents, I would see the faces of my community members also smiling at me and reassuring me. This was my favorite part of community, especially as a child. We had the best celebrations. This is a photo from our anniversary, our Hearth Day, which every year we, in October, when we moved in, we take a walk around the community, children and elderly, with candles and in silence, and then we have a big talent show afterwards. And this is actually painted now in the common room on a mural of the community, so my face is still there, even if I'm not. So this is May Day, we're setting up our play structure with ribbons, and we played a lot of games, and did nails and face paint and all this stuff together. This was our silver and white New Year's party, which we have every year, and it attracted attention not just from the community members, but from the friends of the community members, because they knew that we had the best parties, so they were always asking if they could join. This is Ursula and our little, she was also, we have like 4 or 5 adopted children in the community. We also had house concerts. So this is actually our common house band, so they are actually residents, but we had about once a month bluegrass musicians, classical musicians, people from all over coming through. And this is one of the things when I spoke with one of my surrogate fathers about why he chose to raise his daughter in community. He said, well, it was great because we could still have art in our lives. We could still have music in our lives. We'd just go to the common house. The kids would watch one set. We'd put them to bed. They knew where we were, and then we'd come back down and have a nice evening with our friends. So we didn't just celebrate communally. We also celebrated individuals, and this was really impactful. And I still have really touching memories of the ways I was celebrated there as a child. So whether it was births or deaths or adoptions or graduations or partnerships, we were celebrated as individuals and supported as individuals as well. And this is Naomi. She was my neighbor at 2 years old, hugging baby Devin the day he came home. He was also adopted. And this was when she was 2 years old. And just in November, she had her quinceañera, and my mother was there, and the whole community came together to celebrate her coming of age and her becoming a woman. And I wish I could have been there, but I wasn't there this time. So lastly, kids love to help. I don't know why. I think parents are kind of terrified or just impatient, but usually you would never let your child help clean up. It just takes too long. It's too messy. But not in Frog Song, not in our community. We really liked to support the kids helping. So this is Jurian helping us, clean the cake bowl, obviously. And yeah, so he also loved to help chop vegetables, so we got him a little plastic knife and he could help at the common meals. This was one of the kids' cooks we did. We had once every couple months, Reen, actually, the one I had the struggle with in the beginning, she would help arrange a kids' cook, and we'd pick the menu, we'd do the shopping, and then we'd prepare a meal for the 70 residents there. We also had landscaping days and work days once a month. And this was from 2003. This is right when we moved in, preparing all the landscaping. We had some people who really knew what they were doing and guided us through that. And this is us in 2010. So it's even bigger now, and I haven't been back in a couple of years, so I'm excited to see what it's like now. But yeah, in general, I would like to just say that community for me as a child really engaged this idea of or the philosophy of generosity, and the idea that we all have a need to share. We all deep down inside want to share and want to give what we have to offer, but we don't often have a platform to do that. We don't often have a way to do that. So Cohousing offered this to me and offered this to everybody else there to offer what we could. If somebody needed help with something, if somebody was sick, if you needed a car to borrow, if you couldn't pick up your child at school, or we had other people driving us to and from school all the time. this was a place that really you could do this. This was my little childhood utopia, and it's really shaped my whole value system since I left. So this is what community feels to me, this space that Soshi has. I'm finding the Easter egg. And yeah, I hope that I've left a little seed in all of you, especially the parents, to consider the idea of cooperative housing or co-housing.
Thank
you very
much.